Okay, so we're gonna be creating the scream. You're gonna be doing it in pencil. I'm gonna do it in Sharpie so that you can see it. Our very first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make our screaming person right here on the paper. I'm gonna start off with his head. I'm starting to create a circle. So I start with a circle first. After I've done that, then I'm going to create the letter U underneath my circle. It kind of makes his head look like a light bulb. So we have that circle and we have the U. After we create our U, we're going to want to create the eyes. To create the eyes, I'm just creating 1, 2 circles. It's up to you if you add a dot in there. That's a choice. Once you have your eyes, we're going to create 1, 2 circles for the nostrils. So it's not like a normal nose, it's just showing the nostrils. Then we want its mouth and its screaming, so we make a big oval. So the mouth looks like it's screaming. So we have the screaming mouth on our picture. Now, when we start to create the hands, they are very, very abstract. So you're going to create your hands where it's just kind of a weird oval. It kind of makes it look like he has these weird long ears on it, but they're actually his hands up there. It's a weird oval. Now in his picture, he does add a neck. So it's kind of like a little V shape right underneath there. It's up to you if you add his neck or not. Sometimes I don't. Now, when we create the body, he's gonna have these really long sleeves. So I go for my arms and I add just an oval. Notice it's very abstract, really simple shapes. When we create the body on in there, it's also very simple shapes. It's just a curved line. So we get a curved line. You can even see the shoulder a little bit on there. If you want to add that, that's also a choice. Sometimes I don't add that. That's a little bit optional on like details. It's very, very abstract. Now, we have our screaming person. The screaming person is done. We're going to create his 2 friends over here in the background. Now these 2 friends are walking away from him because he's screaming and being weird. So they're walking off in the distance. The friends are very abstract as well. I always say they either look like a bowling ball or a Coca-Cola ball. So I start with a circle. So I have my 2 circles for the heads. And then I create my shape. That is the friend. It's kind of like a little wavy rectangle. So it kind of looks like a bowling ball. And then the friend in the background. And that's also a little bit of a wavy shape, you know. So I kind of say it kind of looks like Coca-Cola bottles or a weird bowling ball. So we have our 2 friends and we have our screaming guy, okay? Then we're gonna use our ruler. So here we have our ruler. They're walking by the ocean and they're walking on what is called a boardwalk. So you have this little wooden area with a fence. So we're gonna take our ruler at a diagonal. See, I'm placing it at a diagonal. I'm holding my ruler down so it does not move. And then I start to create my boardwalk, okay? So this is the area that they would walk on, that is wood. Now, they wouldn't just have that wooden area, they would have a fence, because those are people who would come and like lean against the fence to look out at the ocean, or people that would lean up against the fence that would, you know, go fishing. And it also stops you from falling into the ocean, so we need a fence. Our first thing we're gonna do is we need some fence posts. So there's only really about 3 fence posts. So we're making our ruler go vertical. Notice it's matching the direction of the paper. So I create my little rectangle, and I'm gonna get another one right here. So I have my vertical line, and then there's one right over here. So there's only 3 posts. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I messed up a little bit right there, but that's okay because, you know, I'm going to put pastels on it because it's a pastel project, and then I'll cover that up. So I want to make the part that people lean up against, okay? That's that little fence post part. So I can make it a little bit, I'm getting at my diagonal. Doesn't have to be perfect. I can erase this part later with my pastels. So now I have my little fence post that people lean up against. I need a little part that makes the fence post sturdy so it doesn't fall away. So I need to put one diagonal line in the middle. Now you can see a fence. You can also kind of continue that line back behind the people. So you have the lines back behind there, and it's going off in a distance. So you kind of see this 1 point perspective where it's going out. This gets a little bit bigger and that goes farther away. Okay, so looking at it, we got our wood part we're walking on. We have our fence. It has 1, 2, 3 fence posts. The diagonal lines that where people lean on the fence. So there's 1, 2 there. We have the 2 friends and the screaming guy. Now we're going to start to create our landscape part. This is the part that's the ocean and the sky. Now, in the background, it has these mountains. Now, it's not like a big mountain. It's just 2 waves. Okay, so you see 1 bump, 2 bump. Those are the waves of the mountain. So this right here is my horizon line, where my land meets the sky. After I create the horizon line, I need a line for where, see, this is land, but I need a line where the ocean is. So I'm going to create a horizontal line. So that horizontal line is where my water is going to be. Okay, so this is land, this is sky, this is water. Now, once I have the water, I want to make what kind of looks like a B shape. It's a little strange B shape. This shape is going to be where the color in the water is going to be warm colors. So this part is going to be warm colors. So I have my mountains, my horizon line, and then it looks like a B shape. Or you could say it's a number 3 reversed shape. Okay. Okay, so we've made our water shape. In this water, there's 2 little boats, and they're very tiny, and they don't have a lot of details. I like to put like a little flag and a vertical line. And then it looks like a little oval. And then there's another one that looks like a little flag and an oval. Has a little dot, kind of probably as a person. So you have 2 boats on the water. Now, over here, This part is a debatable part where sometimes people say it's a tree, some people say it's the beach, some people just say it's more water waves, up to you, but it's going to kind of go in a curvy line like so. So then that's all our lines. Once we have our lines, we're gonna work on our pastels. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go where I have my warm colors, okay? When we have our pastels, the cool thing about them is they layer any of my little mistakes I can cover up with my pastels. So I'm gonna start off bringing in some yellows. Kind of make them kind of in wavy lines. I'm gonna bring in some oranges. And then I'm gonna get some reds. So notice I'm kind of coloring lightly right now. It looks very lightly. And then I'm gonna get my white, because it does have some white up in there. Now I can take my finger and I can smudge it. That's one of the cool things about pastels. You can also add a little bit more going in there. Creating those yellows. Smudging. And blending. Blending all those different colors together. And oranges, yellows. And notice how like this area is really blended. That's the kind of colors you want when it going like really blended and mixed together. Now Edward Munch made 4 of these screens. 2 of them were oils and 2 of them were pastels. Two of them were actually stolen during World War II by the Nazis. And this painting right here was Edward Munch's most famous painting. He was most known for the scream. So now I've blended my sky with warm colors. I'm gonna then go in to my ocean area. My ocean area, I'm adding yellows, oranges. You might even find some of your peaches colors into here. Bring all those colors in there, maybe a little bit of reds. It's mostly orange and yellow and those peaches. I'm gonna try to cover up some of my marker a little bit with my pastel. This pastel's layer. But you were doing pencil, so you could erase on yours. Okay, so now I have kind of that peach area. I'm gonna look into any other area that has my warm colors on my screen picture. So right here on the fence post is also going to end up having some of those warm colors going on it. You're gonna see some of those warm colors going down the boardwalk. Boardwalk is kind of a wooden bridge that people walk on the beach by. So I'm adding those diagonal lines, a little bit of the reds. And you can kind of overlap some of your picture a bit, because the cool thing about pastels is they're going to layer. So it's okay for me to overlap some of my coloring, because I can layer it on top, okay? And I'm even gonna take some blues a little bit into this. I'm gonna start smudging. So remember, you wanna smudge because it is a pastel. Once I have those warm colors, I'm gonna then go in with my black. Really taking my finger and kind of dragging it. You can see how the oils kind of just blend and mix and layer. So now I can take my black, really kind of bring it down that line. Get some of those boardwalk lines going in there. Because this one's kind of a mixture of those darker colors and a little bit more of the lines of the blue. And then we take the finger and then we blend. Now when we look right here, we can get some of those peaches on the face. And get some of those yellows. There's a little bit of white in there. Maybe a few lines of blue, a little bit in there, but I can kind of smudge and blend it. I think I had some of it on my fingers. So you do have to be careful about some of your colors, but I can kind of layer some more yellow and some more peach. That's really the fun thing about pastels, is how much you can layer. But you'll notice your fingers getting some of those colors on there. That's why I start to always kind of go with the cooler colors first. Okay? You might even have some of those little cool colors right up in here. Peach and some of the yellows. A little bit of the oranges. You can kind of scrape away some if you don't like how it's looking. If your finger kind of got too dark. Because pastels you can actually carve into a bit. Now I'm going to start going over it with my black. And whenever you're starting to create this black part of his outfit, you can even go in and start to add some blues into it. Those cool colors. And add some of the whites too. Because that's the fun part about pastels, is how they layer. I'm going to bring a little bit more of that arm back a bit with some of the whites. And then I can smudge and blend it. Now I have my people in the background and they're mostly just silhouette. So I just color those in black. Smudge and blend it. So now we have most of our warm colors done. We're going into our cool colors. It's our blues, our greens, our purples. So when we look over in here, you're gonna have some greens. You're gonna have lots of blue. I can get those in between here as well. Right over here, we had some of the yellow in there, but we also have blues, a little bit of purples, and we have some purples up in here as well. Blues. Now we're going to come in with our black. Okay, so we're bringing in that black. Do be careful with your fingers over here so you don't accidentally smudge it. And we start to blend. And this area is really, really dark. So you just kind of see a highlight of the green in there. Then we start to bring in the black also in the water. And we start to blend. Bringing in the black right over here. That one area. Making those, that's, or I can fix that little post area because I'm moving that in. Adding a little bit more blues. Smudging. Pastels is all about smudging. And then I'm getting right around where that fence post was. And this one's really dark. So I'm bringing in my blacks. And I can even kind of bring that into the orange areas. So you get little bits of light coming in. I'm gonna add some of those whites up in here too, so you get some of those highlights with the layers. Bringing back over here some of those colors with the lines. My fence post. So you're not hardly seeing any of my little mess up lines anymore. I can kind of bring some of these little black lines in here too. Fix where I had those mess ups. I can go back over black where my boats are. I'm gonna add a little bit more orange to that. So that's the real fun part about pastels, is how much you can smudge, blend, and layer it. It's more of this yellow, peach color up in here in that part of the water. Some white. Or if it's a beach, I don't know. People keep saying different things about what this little section is, whether it's the water or if it's the beach. Then we have our screen person, like so. And you're just gonna go back and get any little touch-ups that you need to have.